All right, cool. So, what we are doing today, can you guys see my screen here? Yes, thumbs. Cool. All right, perfect, perfect. So today I want to go over a little bit of how to adjust workouts. Sorry, this is not in the way. How to adjust workouts for any situation. So what we're going to go over is adjusting exercise order, kind of giving you the science and what is the best way to go about it, what to do if you are low on time, how to adjust if you miss a day, and swapping exercises effectively. The goal here is with Project Magic, with your program, with like everything, we set out this blueprint, right? We set out these guidelines, we set out this foundation, but we know that all types of variables change, right? And we need to make sure that we are adjusting for that and we know how to pivot. So giving you a workout is great, but also teaching you how to adjust that workout is going to help you more so long term, right? How can you understand what you're doing? We can be more intentional with the exercises that we're doing, and of course, how to adjust if needed. Okay, so why is this important? So again, sticking to routine is great, but the reality is life happens. One, we get crowded gyms out of nowhere. Everybody decides to be there and everybody wants to squat today. So how are we going to adjust? Everybody's going to be at the cable machine. Maybe you have time constraints for whatever reason. We need unexpected rest days. Something comes up. We get sick at the beginning of the week, literally anything, right? Learning how to adjust without the stress of progressing. So we are still progressing towards your fat loss goals, towards your muscle building goals. We are still feeling confident that you are showing up in the major foundational things. Think about it like your nutrition. Regardless of the carb that you choose, as long as you choose a carb, there's so many ways to go about it. As long as you're building your plate like the core four, there are so many ways to go about it. All right. So adjusting exercise order. We spoke about this 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. So in an ideal world, we keep everything the same. You go through your workout, you get there, and you can just kind of like a checklist, go through it. But again, what if somebody's at the lat pull down? What if somebody's here? What if this is not available? Or what if you're low on time? So something that you're going to notice for the most part with workouts is they follow the five kind of major points. At the beginning, we have mobility. Um, and we have an activation warm up. So those are usually going to be at the top. I really like, I think this happened like last month. Talia sent me I think it was her. She sent me a screenshot and she was like, is this mobility? And this is what the warm up is. And I'm like, yes. So understanding just the flow of the workouts. Then after that comes your main compound lift. So you're going to see at the beginning, like you're kind of stretching it out, you're doing your T-spines, you're working on your ankles, you're opening up your hips. Then we do some type of activation workout, and then comes one big lift. Is it your squat? Is it your bench press? Is it a pull up? Is it your deadlift? Is it your hip thrust, your overhead press? That's your main lift. So this is in a sense like the most important movement of the day. After that is going to be your accessory work. These are things that benefit the main lift, being your lunges, your lat pull downs, your rows, your split squats. Sometimes it could be a hip thrust as well, stiff leg deadlifts. Those can kind of vary. And then we have isolation work. That is, again, we get further down. It almost feels like the workout starts to get easier, but you're tired, so it's actually still kind of hard. But once we get to isolation, it's like, okay, let me just bang out these leg extensions. Let me just bang out these curls or these triceps or this abduction machine. Like it's just that one specific muscle group. And then at the end, you'll have your finisher, maybe some core, maybe a circuit, maybe cardio. Now, every single workout isn't going to have all of these things, but for the most part, if they are in there, regardless of what it'll be in this order. Yeah, either four of them, five of them, three of them, however it kind of goes out. Right? Are we understanding there? Do you guys kind of notice this flow when we're going through workouts? Yes, cool. Okay, so what we ideally want to keep the same. So if somebody's taking certain things, you are rushing or you're low on time or whatever the case may be, we want to keep the overall flow of the workout the same. What that means is, I'm going to go back here, is I don't want you to be like, damn, the squat rack is not open. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do leg extensions and the abduction because that's an isolation exercise. So I don't really want you to tire out your quads before you go to the squat. right? We don't want to move it that way. Same thing with like, if you're already done with your warm up and your main lift, we already squatted, and you have like split squats or lunges or hip thrusts, and your same thing, you're like, should I go do the kickbacks because somebody's using this? Ideally, we want to keep the overall flow of these main points the same. Think about what's the hardest and most complicated lift. That's usually going to be at the beginning, and then it will adjust towards the end. All right. Again, ideally, what we want to keep the same is your main lift. So again, warm up. The squat rack is taken. This actually happened to me today. The squat rack was taken. Ask, hey, how many sets do you have left? The girl at the time, she just had one. I was like, okay, cool. And I just kind of stand there. If they have two, if they have four, then that's where I'm like, fuck, okay, I need to adjust. But usually my first thing before adjusting anything is asking that specific person how many sets you have left, because if it's one or two, I can wait it out. Now, if it's more than that, I'm gonna adjust. Funny story, today, Anna never works out in the morning. So me and Maria came to work out in the morning and they came to work out in the morning. We had the same exact workout. So we were both needing the squat rack. Now there's four of us, we're not gonna share a squat rack. Anna went to do split squats first and I was like, you're silly. I'm taking this rack because I'm gonna ask her how many she had left, and she had one left. So going for like an ideal world, right? Going to split squats first before a squat is going to be much more difficult. If you can keep that main compound lift first, then it's going to be ideal. But obviously, you know, again, things happen. Now, less significant adjustments. Again, these are the things, if you can leave them the same, leave them the same. Less significant adjustments is one, your superset order. So if it is hip thrust superset with RDLs, or if it's lat pull downs superset with overhead press, and face pulls superset with tricep extensions. If it makes sense for you to hip superset this with this and this with this, that's fine. So I've passed my main lift, and then there's two supersets after. If it makes sense to swap these two and then still have those 2 and 2, that is 100% okay. Another thing that you can adjust is once you do that main lift, the next accessory lifts, you can also swap the order. So for example, my workout today was a squat, it was a hip thrust, and it was a squat, it was a split squat, and then it was a hip thrust. Because of the difficulty to get a barbell in my gym, I'm not going to do squats and then split squats because I'll lose the bar. So instead, I'm gonna pull the hip thrust up just one. I'm gonna do squats, I'm gonna keep the bar, and I'm gonna do hip thrust, right? After that was RDLs. Again, I kind of bring up the situation that happened yesterday. All four of us were kind of just fighting for the same thing. So what we did is like, you guys go do that, and you'll do the RDLs and we'll do hip thrust. And then when we're both done, both groups, we'll swap. You do hip thrust and you do RDLs. Does this kind of make sense? Are you guys following me, or are we confused? If you are confused, just ask. We're good? Okay, so again, these are the adjustments. Past the main lift, past the thing that we usually go for strength, past the thing that we usually do every single week or most weeks, that is when you can start adjusting, right? So if you are low on time, that's the next thing that I want to talk about. Oh, I will bring this back as well. This also comes with like the cables. I feel like that's usually where I have to adjust the most with the cables, because those are usually taken. Again, swap those out. So I know you guys will have a lot of questions on like, oh, but the cable was taken, what should I do? And I felt like I was waiting. Those are the ones that we can start adjusting and flipping around. Now, next thing, if you are low on time, again, in an ideal world, we just want to make sure that we make time for workouts, we have time for workouts, but that's not always the case. So if this does happen, option number one is going to be shorten your sets. So maybe your mobility was 2 sets and you're just doing 1. Maybe your warm-up was 3 sets and you're just doing 2. Maybe your squat or your main lift was 4 sets, you're just doing 3, etc. Your accessory lift is 3 sets, you're just doing 2. You could literally take the entire workout and just take 1 set out of everything, and you're going to be able to get a lot of work. You're going to be able to rest, because sometimes you're short on time. Doing 4 sets almost is gonna feel like you're rushing through those 4 sets and you're not able to lift very heavy for those 4 sets. So if you just take one out, you're gonna be able to lift heavy for the 3 sets because you'll have more time to kind of rest in between. Right, so that's one way to go about it, and it could be very, very simple. Next thing, next option is removing less critical parts. So I put maybe for mobility. Not everybody should be taking out their mobility because some of us really need to focus on that. But if you are working out later in the day, like I can't take on my mobility because I work out at 6 in the morning and I literally wake up and I'm like half asleep when I get there. If I take out my mobility, I'm going to feel super stiff. But if you're working out later in the day and you were just walking, you were just doing stuff, then you're probably pretty like opened up. You're probably pretty mobile. So that is why I put it like in a maybe, right? Another thing that you can take out is an isolation exercise. So again, I'm low on time. I could do my squat, I could do my hip thrust, I could do my split squat, but the leg extension, it's whatever. If I can't get to it, it's fine. The curls on an upper body day, it's fine. I can take it out. The lateral raises, it's fine. I can take it out. Again, we don't want to do this all the time, but for the times that like something is better than nothing, you can take out the things at the end of the workout. Your finisher, that core work, maybe the cardio. Focus on the main lifts, focus on the hardest lifts. Another option is making a circuit. You can either do this for time or by combining supersets. So I'll give you an example. I would say, yeah, here. Let's say obviously hip thrusts just kind of mess all of this up because it's something that kind of does on the side. But let's say I'm running low on time and I have RDLs, I have the leg extension, and I have the abduction machine, right? Let's say hip thrust isn't there. What I would do if I want to go faster is instead of doing RDLs for 3 sets and resting in between, I'm gonna do RDLs, leg extensions, abduction, RDL, leg extension. I'm almost gonna make a bigger set. So this is a way to, again, get through it faster. Are you gonna be resting that much time? Probably not, but you're gonna be able to get through your workout. So I do this sometimes, again, for my accessories, when I have like 4 things that I need to do, and I can, let's say, do them with dumbbells or one's on the cable and then 3 of them on dumbbells. I'm just gonna do them all at the same time and kind of just get through them as quickly as I can. So that's an option called combining the supersets. Now, for time, this is something that I've done when it was a couple months ago. I literally had 25 minutes from the moment that I stepped in the gym to the moment that I had to step out of the gym. So what I did was 5 minutes of warming up. I was very intentional, really getting a good warm up in. And then I put 20 minutes on my clock. I picked 3 or 4 exercises. Oh, it was 3: deadlift, hip thrust, lunges. I picked 3 exercises that I could just do all together. The hip thrust I can just set up, and then the other ones I can do with dumbbells. And I just put a timer for 20 minutes and just ran through the rounds. If I got 3 rounds, great. If I got 4 rounds, great. If I got 5 rounds, great. But I have 20 minutes. I wasn't going for, can I get as many rounds as possible in these 20 minutes, but can I lift heavy? Can I rest? And can I not have to worry about moving around? So again, that can be an option. You have 25 minutes to work out. Warm up for 5-10 minutes, put a timer on, pick 3 exercises, get through them as well as you can. And obviously, like, pick one lift that will be hard so that we can get a good workout in. And then last option, again, if you're low on time, is reducing your rest time. Now, this again depends. If it's your main lift, instead of reducing your rest time because we want to go for big numbers, I would take out a set, right? That's where that last one will apply, taking out one of your sets. But if you already did the first half of your workout and you're just trying to fly through the second half of your workout, because again, you gotta go, then reducing your rest time. When it comes from lat pull downs and rows or curls and lateral raises, you're just getting through them. I'm just trying to do this as quickly as possible because I gotta go. Cool, are we following here? Yes, a lot of information. I'm throwing you a lot of information, and I'm throwing you a lot of options because sometimes I do this. Sometimes I have 20 minutes. Sometimes I'm gonna scrap this. It really just depends. And I'm not gonna say like, I just kind of feel it out. Which one makes more sense for the workout that I'm doing and the amount of time that I have. So just so that you know, all of these are options, and I want you to know that that's available. Now, if you are going to miss a day. For the most part, most of us do an upper body day or 2 upper body days, 2 lower body days, or we'll do 2 full body workouts or 3 full body workouts. Those are a little bit easier to adjust because you're hitting your full body throughout the week. Now, options, if you are going to miss a day. Number one is I always, if I know that I'm going to miss this particular day, I'm going to prioritize my favorite workouts first. So my favorite upper body workout and my favorite lower body workout. I don't really love to deadlift. So like if I have to skip that one, I'd rather skip that one because I want to squat. That's kind of what I mean by that. I'm really working on my bench right now. So if I have to skip my overhead press day, it's fine. I want to work on my bench, right? So that's what you would prioritize first. What are the particular lifts that you, or what's the particular workout that you like most, that those exercises fit more with what you're kind of going for? Prioritize those first, right? Now, option with that, with prioritizing whichever ones you like first, is we can combine an upper and a lower into one session. So it's almost going to look like I can only work out 3 days this week. I really like upper one. I really like lower one, and I'm going to combine upper two and lower two. So it turns into an upper body, a lower body, and a full body. That's one option. Another option is you're picking, I'm not gonna lie and say that I would rather do lower body than upper body. So like, if you really wanted to, you could do 2 of the lower bodies and skip out on one of the upper bodies, and those are your 3 lifts. But I would prefer going this route rather than like 2 lower, 1 upper, or 2 upper, 1 lower. But again, you guys aren't missing all the time. So it's not something that's gonna make or break. Just these are cases where like 1 week out of the past 12, you just had something come up, right? 1 week out of the past, I can't even tell you last time I like really had to like miss a workout other than being sick, which is a little bit different. I just missed a whole week. It is very rare that this does happen. Now, I want to show you how to combine workouts if needed. So if you're doing upper one, lower one, and you want to combine upper two and lower two on the fly, right? How do we adjust this? I am going to bring this. Oops. Can you guys see this spreadsheet? Or are you still on the other one? Okay, let me stop sharing and then let me share again. Now, can you see the spreadsheet? Okay, cool. So basically, obviously this is laid out in a spreadsheet. You kind of have it on your app. So let's say I'm gonna prioritize doing upper one and lower one, and I'm gonna combine lower two and upper two. What we want to do here is, can I take the main lifts from upper body and the main lifts for lower body? Oh, lower body and then upper body. Similar to if you're low on time, it doesn't really matter if you're hitting your biceps and your triceps. Let's make sure that we're hitting the bigger lifts. That's what we're gonna do here. So if I were to combine these exercises here, what I would personally do is I'm going to pick the main lift that I'm gonna do, which is gonna be the box squat. All right, the box squat at the squat rack, it can make sense to superset it with an overhead press. Because they're such different exercises, they're not really gonna get in the way of each other. Are you gonna be tired? 100%. But are we still gonna be able to push for legs if you're supersetting with shoulders? Yes, right? So that's what I would do here first. So this is what my what the beginning is gonna be. I'm gonna do the same exact thing for my mobility. So I actually like this mobility. Well, they're all the same here. Actually, I think I had this one different, but whatever. Picking the mobility. Then I'm gonna pick something that makes sense that I need for my main lift of my lower body. So I'm gonna take this warm up, and then I'm gonna take this warm up because it's gonna make sense with my upper body, right? Picking a warm up exercise for the lower, picking a warm up exercises for the upper, and then I'm gonna just pick one more. Or maybe I'm just making a bigger warm up. So I'm picking 2 and 2 from each one. This one is whatever to me, I can scrap it. Let's say this one is whatever to me, I can just scrap it. Right now, I'm not really being very ideal, like what's gonna be perfect. I'm just kind of picking 2 and 2. Now, I picked military box squat and overhead press. Now, I'm combining these. So my next set, I'm gonna do hip thrusts And since I already have a bench, I'm gonna superset that with bench press. And I'm just gonna put those two together. Right, so now these two are done. And then I'm gonna do an RDL. Because I can bring the cables down to where the dumbbells down to where the cables are, I can superset these two together. So now I have a lower body with an upper body for every single set. This itself is a pretty solid workout. Like if you just did this, that's great. If you add another one, if you try to go like, okay, cool, so I combine that, right? But I haven't done all of this, and you try to keep going, it might just get too long. Like if you have the time, obviously you can go for it, but if we have like an hour, then that would be too much. Maybe at the end of this workout, just because I want to grow my quads, I'm gonna finish off with a leg extension, my biceps, my triceps, it's whatever. Are we following here? Right? How can you do this if you don't have a spreadsheet? Literally just kind of like write it down. So I usually just look at my workout and then I'm like, okay, I really want to box squat, hip thrust, RDL, and then I want to bench press, military press, and do a pull down. And then I'm just going to put it into a set. Now, question, could it have been, well, it makes more sense for me to do it like this. Bench press with box squat, hip thrust with military press. Doesn't matter. We are just trying to get through these workouts and we're trying to do it as best as we can, right? And I know combining a workout is not easy. So however it makes sense for you, combine it. It could even make sense for you to combine hip thrust with RDL and then the overhead press with the lat pull down. Regardless, my main lifts are the first two, and then the rest we can kind of adjust, right? So this is a way that we can just combine two upper body workouts and make them into a full body workout. Next. Oh, and lastly, if life happens, let's say you think you're gonna get 4 workouts this week, and all of a sudden life just happened and you couldn't get that last upper body day, but you couldn't get that last lower body day because damn it, like it just happened. It's a Saturday, this is my last day, I had to do it this day. It happens. Just let it go. Move on, keep going for the next week. Are we back on my presentation? Can you guys see this? Cool. Now swapping exercises. Number 1, you guys all have access to the movement swap spreadsheet, so that's going to be your number 1. But don't major in the minor one when it comes to the barbell. The dumbbells that I needed were unavailable, so I used the barbell. Is that okay? Yes, that's fine. Barbell, dumbbell, it's fine. I know some of you love to barbell bench. That's fine. If you want a barbell bench, you can barbell bench. When it comes to swapping those two out, RDLs, even maybe you want to do lunges and you want to put the smaller barbells on your back, like that's not a big deal. Smith machine alternatives. So if you're going to do a squat rack, or like free weight, can you do it at the Smith machine instead? That's fine. The squat rack was taken, but I really wanted to squat and I was low on time, so I did the Smith machine. That's fine. You probably just need to add a little bit more weight. So those things are fine. And then cables and bands. This is something that I do if I'm low on time and I need to do the cable machine and it's taken, I'm just gonna pull out my band and I'm gonna do the face pulls with the band, I'm gonna do the lat pull down with the band, I'm gonna do some rows with the band because the cables are not available and I'm low on time. So that's why I am a very impatient person when it comes to waiting for things. So my gym bag is stacked. But one thing I will always have with me is a band. Because if the cables are not available, I'm gonna pull out my band, especially for warm-up exercises. And lastly, I believe this is lastly, is your coaches are here to help, right? So if you know in advance, hey, I'm not gonna be able to do this particular exercise, or I know on Thursday I'm gonna get a workout, but it has to be really, really fast. What do you think I should do? Ask. I give you this lesson because for the most part, when you have to adjust, it's because you're standing in front of the cables and they're all taken. And some of you work at very crazy times. So if you message me, I might not see it and I might not get to you in the next 2 minutes that you need. So these are things that it's more adjusting on the fly. This happened and I adjust. This happened and then I adjust. All right. So if you can ask in advance, ask. Another thing is ask after, hey, I did this to my workout. What do you think? Or I had to go at a really busy time and I swapped these around and I mixed the order. What do you think? Usually on there, I'll either give you feedback like that's a great adjustment, or I'll say, this is what I would have done. And then you'll learn why or how you can do it better next time. Right? So regardless of however you swap it, other than the fact that like, hey Nicole, I did dumbbells instead of barbell, like that's fine. You don't have to tell me, you just swap it. But if you're making these adjustments and you're really not sure, but like you're just kind of trying to figure it out, I am a big fan of you guys letting me know when you adjust them so I can give you feedback on, yeah, that was great, or no, that was not great. I know Christine does this a lot. She used to do it a lot at first, but obviously like the more that you ask, the more that you can get better at these things. So at first she's like, oh, I kind of want to do this. What do you think? I was going to add this. I think the first time that she told me she combined two workouts, she literally combined the entire 2 workouts. I'm like, how long were you in there? And she like, obviously a very, very long time. Not going to be ideal. Not all of you can be in there for 2 hours, nor do you probably want to be in there for 2 hours, but it is a learning experience for her. And then the next time she did it, she obviously knew how to do it better. So we are always here to help you with that. And that is pretty much it. Remember that food is love and strength is power. Let me stop sharing my screen. Do we have any questions today? That was a lot. I felt like it was a lot. Do we have any questions? Questions, comments, concerns? Does anybody have any feedback, or I guess even like advice for things that have worked for you in your workouts, or anything that you would like to share with anybody else? Oh, Carla, you have a question. You can
No, I
always,
gotta share. I gotta share
yes.
just something that's been working for me lately. So, one of my exercises is the eccentric, eclectic. I don't know. I'm dyslexic. Whatever it is, like backward. It's like not a pull up. It's like a let down sort of thing. Um, I don't have a lot of access to things in my gym that can assist with it, and I don't have bands yet, like a ding dong, but I realized that I could do it just by having somewhere to put my feet and just kind of like fight my fight gravity and trying to pull myself down. So it worked amazingly and my arms are super sore. So it was just a matter of not trying to do what you could do, but try to do what I could do. And it worked out marvelously.
I love that. I also think, I'm glad that you said that, because for my videos, I also want you guys to understand that like this is what I do. And like sometimes they can look very simple. And like if I'm showing you a pull-up exercise and you're like, oh, that looks easy. I know which one you're talking about, where you like jump up and then you kind of like let yourself down. You're probably jumping up and going like this, like kind of like very quickly. But we need to, that's a perfect example of like just adjusting and kind of finding your way. So I love, love, love that. Thank you. Anybody else? Also, to my people that work out at home, I feel like this is another thing that we have to learn how to do. When I was working out at home during COVID, I probably like 6 months or so, the creativity that we have to have at home. Where can you put those bands? What can I find to put my foot on? What can I pick up to like make this heavier? That's another thing. But again, if you have questions on that, like we are here to help. I know some of you even go from the gym to randomly at home and it's like no rhyme or reason. It's just kind of like random. If it happens, let us know and then we'll help you from there. I definitely needed this call. Ooh, nice, thanks. I know it. I pay attention. Last questions on anything unrelated to today. I'll just kind of open it up and then I'll let you guys go. I've been doing 3 to 4 sets when I'm short on time. I adjust my rest time. Perfect. For you, I would say it can be a little bit different too, because when you're working out at home, sometimes it's easier to kind of like adjust and kind of make a big set of things or do like a lighter weight for all of the sets. So again, this is why I kind of pull together, like, don't take anything that I say as like, this has to be the exact thing that I'm doing. How can you take one piece of information and just be like, oh, that one applies to me? All right, that is it. If you guys have any questions, let me know as you go. If you adjust any workouts, also let me know so I can give you some feedback on how you guys did. I hope you have a wonderful week. Love you guys. I will see you next week.